Da, da, da. Welcome to Transit News, everybody. We have the sun in Cancer, and we have the moon in Gemini. And I'm going to let you know right now, before you think moody, before you think about being overwhelmed in emotion, before you think about the feelings and then a mood, remember, the moon is actually in Gemini. So the sun is looking like aloofness right now. The sun is looking like, the moon got the sun looking like instability. Remember, Gemini is a fast moving planet, and the moon is ever changing. And I'm here to let you know what that means when you put air and water together. It just don't mix. You get air and water this time around. And let me tell you why. How you feel right now is in theory, which means how you look isn't quite found out just yet. It's the feeling of what if. The feeling of, I should. And with the sun being in Cancer, you might wake up with the right mood to match what you think you feel. But how do you feel? Can't put my finger on it. It changes so fast. It's overloading my cognitive function. Why? Because I'm not even a thinker. I'm a feeler right now. The sun is in Cancer. We're seeing the feelings, burn my tongue. We're seeing the feelings and emotion. We're looking at the feelings and emotions. And they're being displayed as quick images. Depending on which house you have Gemini, this is going to give you the air watery, phasey, illusionary, misty, foggy image of what we're trying to look at. Remember, the moon is like it's not really real. Feelings are real, but the moon's feelings are metaphysical. But the sun and being Cancer is burning that metaphysical property and is slingshotting it into reality. So you can see it. So it can act out. So it can play out. So if you have Geminis in the first house, you're going to be bubbles. And I said you're going to be, but look, stay with me. Second house, Gemini, waves. Third house, Gemini, sprouts. Fourth house, Gemini, water balloons. The reason you feel bubbles of information coming up, but you don't know what you can do with it. You don't know what you can do with this information. You're being put into situations where you're going through waves, different waves of thought, different waves of constant thought that ends up ending. And it ends up in sprouts of ideas to embark on. My God. I'm big. And you end up getting a water balloon thrown at your face once you get a real emotional reaction. So, Gemini fifth house, green water versus blue water. Sixth house, Gemini, vapors. Seventh house, Gemini, rain. Eighth house, Gemini, snow. This area is letting you know the difference between thoughts and emotions. So green water being the thoughts, blue water being the emotions. They're both bodies of water. The only thing that differentiates the color is the weather, the time of day, the stuff going on in the sky. You feel me? Is it a cloudy day? Is it a sunny day? What is being reflected, right? You see the vapors going up and evaporating depending on how you decide to work on these thoughts. It thins out and it turns into a vapor, essentially something that's hard to track. Then you get hit with rain. The rain is basically your partner, your friend, your relatable, whoever, not being able to keep up on your frequency, not necessarily being able to keep up when it comes down to copying your style, or vice versa, you copying theirs, but really them copying yours. Then it turned into snow, slower dropping ideas, slower manifesting ideas, which is delicate because as soon as it touch a hot surface, it quickly melts and turn into a small puddle that's hard to perceive, which can be looked at as insignificant feelings. Something that should be expressed, but rather not. It's not that serial. But you really should. Really should. Because once you express these small, insignificant feelings, that's when you have your first real clue on where you're going in these situations. How, if a person actually cared about the needs of you, or would they just shrug them off because they really is insignificant? But depending on how they approach the situation, could let you know if they're actually for you or not, which they're probably not, unless you're actually locked in. Ninth house Gemini, Chalice. 10th house Gemini, Raft. 11th house Gemini, Underwater Dome. And 12th house Gemini, Gills. These are the higher echelons of thought. These are areas that have all the answers already, always have, and most likely always will. The battle here is quite different. It's more like, do I even want another sip? Do I even want to see how it plays out? And the answer is, of course, because you've already seen the worst. You already seen the thick. You already technically seen how bad things can get. And you have you a little chalice to drink from to give you the information. You have you a little raft to float when things get rough. Because did I mention? Finna be a little short wave of pre-hardships. It's a hardship. It's a drought coming. And right now, you're going to see what this drought brings before the blessing come in and then a real drought come in. And see, the blessing is going to be basically everything you needed at the last minute so you can do the right thing with it. Because come to find out, it don't matter how you've been living your life this whole time. It don't matter what you've been doing the whole time. There's going to be some changes needed in order to survive the upcoming transits that's finna hit. And what type of transits is finna hit upcoming? Well, you're gonna need your underwater dome. A place that can let you know that it's okay. A place to show you that what you're feeling is normal. What you're feeling is natural. Because end of the day, when the flood comes, you're gonna wish you had some air to breathe. You're gonna wish you had a boat to sail on. You're gonna wish you had something high to sit on. You're gonna wish you had a helicopter. Or you're gonna wish you had gills. Why? Because if you know how to breathe underwater, man, you're set for life. But you're gonna be put under certain pressures to let you know that it's not just you, it's not just them. People is gonna be running. People is gonna be scurrying. People is gonna be running. Where can I go? Where can I go? I just want someplace so I don't gotta think as much. I mean, well, it just depends who you been relying to save your ass. If you've been relying on yourself, well, that's who's gonna have to bail you out. If you've been relying on your belief system, well, that's gonna have to bail you out. But that's all I have. please leave a like, a comment,